What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are still living in the euphoria of the Dallas Cowboys destroying the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football, 41-21, the final score of that. We normally have our weekly roundtable discussions every Tuesday afternoon, but given that it was Monday Night Football, we had to push everything back a day. So here we are. It's Wednesday. It's time to be live. We have a very special guest, not a full roundtable. We got him because he basically has enough optimism and Cowboys homerism for three people. He was at the game on Monday Night Football. It is the one and only Dave Sturchio from the Jersey Boys podcast here on the Blog of the Boys podcast network, from Chop Sports, and from somewhere up on the East Coast. Sturch,
yeah.
How goes it?
Oh, it's good, man. I mean, I'm just getting the voice back, and even still, it's a little on the hoarse side. But that bad boy was gone after the CeeDee Lamb catch. I was like, it was over after that. The first catch, like one of the first plays of the game, and I couldn't have screamed louder. Great atmosphere, Monday Night Football. It was so much fun. The Hall of Fame stuff at halftime. It was just incredible. And then lo and behold, I'm just about to board my flight, and Mr. Drew Pearson himself is at his restaurant at DFW. And look, me try not to fanboy out too much, but he's a Hall of Famer, man. I had to say hello and wish him, congratulations and stuff. And of course, he shoved the rings right in my face. So we took a picture. It was good. Cool stuff.
Yeah. Drew Pearson, friend of Blogging the Boys. We spoke to him here on the YouTube channel. Everybody do subscribe to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, by the way, and check out Chop Sports, all the great stuff Sturch is doing. I told him then, I met him my freshman year of college, and he let me wear his Super Bowl ring, and he lets everybody wear it. And I just think that's a really cool thing that he does.
That's awesome.
Not everybody's willing to do that, like in their autograph appearances and stuff like that. So very cool. Glad you're home. Glad you made it back. Glad you enjoyed the game. And we have a lot of things to get to. So this is your discussion. If you're with us live, we're here to kind of talk about the main Cowboys topics of the week. Obviously, a quick week for the Cowboys as they get ready to face Dave Sturchio's Carolina Panthers. On Sunday, Sturch is a big-time believer in the Panthers, as he said during last week's roundtable. Tony Catalina, the Anthony threw me off, said, my guy's holding it down at BTB. Tony will be back on our roundtable soon enough. But Tony, knows that you are a big-time Panthers fan, Sturch.
God.
The main thing that is kind of floating around, or has been floating around, and we have some kind of topics, and I certainly want to celebrate the fact that the Cowboys won. I don't think anybody's upset, but there are some things that people have opinions on, and the main one, Sturch, this has incited a lot of discourse, of discussion. I wrote about this, an article dropping, might have already dropped actually now that we're live, on Wednesday at bloggingtheboys.com. Should Mike McCarthy have called the timeout at the end of the first half against the Philadelphia Eagles? If you're watching live with us, yes, if you think so. No, if you do not, or if you're happy with how he played it. Sturch, you were in the building. I trust, a little bit deep at that point, having a good time. But so maybe your mental faculties weren't all in place at this particular point.
I have a rule. I don't consume anything during the game. I can't.
Okay. Well, respect. So that being said, the main sort of point of consternation, it's 3rd and 24 for the Philadelphia Eagles at their own 32-yard line, and the Cowboys have 2 timeouts in their pocket. There's about a Mike McCarthy, if he's hurrying, can get a timeout in with about a minute 48, minute 49, plus minus a couple seconds right there. Should he have done so? Cowboys are up 20-7 at this particular moment in time. Obviously, he elects not to do so. In fact, doesn't call a timeout at all on 3rd or 4th down, and just elects to go into the locker room with the lead at halftime. Your thoughts?
Every time this happens, and it's sad that I have to say every time this happens, because this is not the first time he's fumbled some timeouts. Like, he has to realize that, and I say this from the crowd, from my couch, from wherever I'm watching the game, Mike, you realize, like, they don't carry over. These aren't rollover minutes on a cell phone plan. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think those exist anymore, by the way. Like,
I don't think so either.
Yeah. But so that's today's youth doesn't totally get that. Right. For sure.
Right. But I'm trying to think to myself, I'm like, well, like, what's the plan here? Like, why would you not be aggressive against a team that, look, I didn't think the Philadelphia Eagles were that good going in. I didn't, based off of their first 2 games, but they do have some high octane players, so they can score when, not in bunches, but like they have the ability to do so. If you have them backed up like that and you have them on the ropes and you're up 20-7 already, why can't you try to put your foot on the throat before halftime? Like, that is a perfect opportunity. You would have gave Dak Prescott, at least if you burn the 2, with the play clock and whatnot, you probably would have had a minute to go at least give Mr. Greg the leg, who needs to redeem himself after missing an extra point, give him a chance to kick the 60-yarder with no time left or something. But for them not to do anything that was alarming.
So I hear where you're coming from, Sturch, on and by the way, we are posting this audio because I know this is a subject that invites a lot of opinions. So we are posting this audio on the Blog of the Boys podcast network. So if you have a thought or a question about this, leave us a rating and let us know how you felt Mike McCarthy handled it. You're coming at this from I think, Sturch, correct me if I'm wrong, like a classic, not football guy, but you're saying keep your foot on their throats. You know what I mean? Like twist the knife. Like I have my stance on this has nothing to do with that. Like I get that point that I want to beat them, send a message, make a statement. Like I get all of that, but that's not, I think he should have called timeouts, but my point is completely separate from that. I don't want to call it emotion, but I that's a different thing is my point. By the way, Ted says here, if he wanted to be conservative there, he should have been on the 4th and goal touchdown to Wilson also, which is when the Cowboys went for it on 4th and goal later in the game. Dak throws a touchdown to Cedric Wilson. They elect not to kick a field goal. Ted says, I was waiting for that timeout, and I kind of thought they should have went for the field goal. Yes, I agree. And so my point, Sturch, is that we hear so often about the times this is said most frequently is when there's a situation to go for 2. The announcers love to say things like, well, the card says, the chart says now's the time to go for 2. And I really believe that that's how things should play themselves out. There's a domino game that I love called 42 that I learned when I was in college at Texas A&M. It's played a lot there in College Station. And I don't have time to explain the way 42 works, but it's a game where if everyone is truly playing it at the most elite level possible, the moment the dominoes are drawn, it should play out in one particular way. You know what I'm saying? Like the best possible, the game should be written, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so in that sense, this shouldn't be about emotion. This shouldn't be about it's the Eagles. This shouldn't be about it's a division game. You got to twist the knife. This should literally just be about what does logic say? What does reason say? What does the data tell you to do in this particular moment? And Mike McCarthy actually mentioned this himself on Tuesday in his day after press conference. He was asked about this twice, 2 different ways. He was asked about the analytics, and he basically said that whatever analytics, whatever numbers suggested that going for it would have been the right decision.
The defense as well as they were playing factor into that decision to let it run out there?
Well, I mean, that's really what the decision was about. Clock management is clearly a defensive type decision. You really, you have the 2 options there. Obviously, you had 2 timeouts left. You play it straight by the numbers, or there's other variables involved that I'm not going to really get into specifics. As far as matchups and some of the things that we were talking about on the headset, but we decided to take the conservative approach. I think it was clearly, reflected on, not taking the early timeout on 2nd and 3rd down, and, the potential one there on 4th down. But if you look at the defensive calls and how we played that situation, I was very comfortable with the command that our defense had in that game, and just not even giving them a chance to, maybe put us in a backed up situation. And, we know what happened, earlier in the game in a backed up situation. So clearly a conservative decision at that point in the game for myself.
You talked a lot about analytics and how that can inform your decision making. In that specific situation, is that at all in play? Like, are you getting some sort of analytical, data that tells you should do this in this situation, or how does that work, or if at all, in that?
I think it's really cut and dry. When I say play it by the numbers, I think the clock, when you talk about clock management, you look at the down and distance field position, obviously score a game, and timeouts available, their timeouts available, and potentially where the ball is going to be, where will your drive start. Those are, to me, by the number variables. I think we all are aware of those. That's the clear facts of any situation in the game of football. But there's other variables that each opponent that's in tune with, and that's what we talk about on the headsets. I'm sure we're all aware. And as far as particular matchups, momentum, all those things. Those are the other variables that go into account in those decisions. So you have 2 options there. Play it by the numbers, which would be taking the timeouts, or you play the conservative approach, and I took the conservative approach in that situation.
Yeah, that's crap to me. I'm being totally honest. You know what? momentum is not a variable. And by the way, Joseph says, even after a win, Cowboys fans still complain. Yeah, we still complain because we want to win more. And this didn't cost the Cowboys against the Eagles, but you know who they play this season that it might cost them against? The Chiefs, the Raiders. I mean, maybe you believe in the Vikings. You could get a little bit cute with the Cardinals later on in the season. And so that's why it is, and this is discouraging is maybe the heaviest term. Zachary Sturch says McCarthy at times almost sounds like he confuses himself when he speaks. He spoke in circles, momentum is not a variable, you can't just say like all these words and expect people to be like, oh, he's spitting facts. Like that's not exactly what's happening here.
No, and you know what the most alarming thing was right at the beginning of that answer when he said like, well, you saw what happened when we were, pinched in our own zone like that. You saw what happened previously. Like, why are you even banking on that? Like, first of all, they're backed up on their own, what? What'd you say, 30? Yeah, like they're like all the way.
The Eagles are on their own 32-yard line at the point of third down, 3rd and 24.
So at the best punt possible, you're looking at, a fair catch at the 10. You know what I mean? For them,
not to interrupt you, Sturch, but where people have come back at this point in the last few days have been, okay, say you call a timeout right there and say on 3rd and 24, the Eagles attempt a big pass. Say there's illegal contact, an automatic first down. Say there's a pass interference. So like, all of a sudden you give them a fresh set of downs to work with, but then you're like, that's not elite coaching at all. Now you're coaching out of fear and you're coaching for to avoid the worst possible hypothetical.
Yeah, no, it's a guy. I was just gonna say, man, this guy. It's like, when's it gonna come around to just? I'm all for aggressive. I'm all for that, and I think that it would have worked out. But if you start playing that what if game, like, well, what if there's an illegal contact, and what if this? Like, there's too many questions that don't really pertain to the situation. We had them backed up. Our momentum was on our side.
See, momentum means nothing to me though. Like, I know you're making the point, but like. The biggest problem I have with Mike McCarthy's answer is that he literally says that the way he verbalizes it is the number. So in this case, he's talking about the data, whatever analytical science or math is being propositioned here says to do one thing that they did not. Why? Like this isn't an if and thing. You can't be halfway in. You know what I'm saying? Like you are either all the way committed to this philosophy that you told us you spent an entire year studying and professing your love for, or you're not. There's no halfway here.
Yeah, no, there really isn't. And yeah, I mean, you're making me come around to your point a little bit more than the whole like. But you're just so influential. But like, I agree with that, and I just. He's got to come up with a better answer. I think, the media is a fickle thing, and we know how to hit them hard on the questions. He's just got to come up with some better answers because right now we're not really buying his stuff.
It's again, is it the biggest problem in the world? No, it's
no, because
not.
we won the game. We won the game.
But you can't like. Your decision making can't be results oriented. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say like everything's good, we won the game, like that's totally fine. You know what I'm saying? Like
I just think like my feeling about the whole thing.
No,
had we lost, it would have been an uproar for a week. Right.
But the problem for me, and the reason I'm more sticky about this than I would be normally, is if and I don't even mean an elite head coach, but if like. Kevin Stefanski, I know he's reigning coach of the year, but or Brian Flores, if they do something like this, it's a one game in a vacuum type thing. But the Cowboys have had, whoopsie-daisies at the end of halves in each of their 3 games this season. I was very vocal about not being a fan of allowing Greg Zuerlein to kick a 60-yard field goal at the end of the first half against the Buccaneers. He missed, and then not only did he miss, but the week after they spent the entire time caping for him, talking about how he had just come off a surgery, even though they were the ones who decided to pull that trigger and let him attempt that field goal. And again, did it hurt them? No, but Tom Brady literally got a pass off that entered the airspace of the end zone, which is the proof that this was a potentially consequential thing, that a consequential roll of the dice that they made. I did not have a problem last week, ultimately, with the way the end of the game played out. I think they got into field goal range. I think that was the goal. The score was tied. If they were down a point or two and needed that field goal to have it be a win or lose sort of situation, I would have been much more critical, but that was not the case. Those were not the variables. And Mike McCarthy's the one mentioning variables and data points and things like that. So it's the collective. It's the cumulative thing here. We've now seen some questionable decision-making at the end of 3 different halves, and there have only been 6 halves played this season. And so that is not a encouraging thing moving forward. It's, again, does it mean he's the worst coach in the NFL? No, but you are truly, I think, in the best possible space you can be in if you learn from all opportunities, but specifically if you say, you know what, we won, it didn't matter, like you said, Sturch, but what mistakes did we make that we can learn from moving forward?
What mistakes you want the list or
no, I'm sorry, this is one of them, but yeah.
Right. No, I mean, again, I agree with you. I just, it's one of those things where it's frustrating. You just want to make sure that you correct these things early. And, the Cowboys have an opportunity now to get in front of this division, because we're really finding out that this division is relatively bad. I said it when the season started, and I know everybody gets on my case about being too optimistic, but I said that they should win this division by 3-4 games. You know what I mean? That's how bad I think the rest of the teams are. But you want to clean these things up, because not everybody's going to be the Eagles. We're going to get into that meat and potatoes of our schedule and really have to really clean stuff up.
Okay, well, so you brought that up. You clearly want to move on, Sturch.
No.
No, I get it. So the Cowboys are on a winning streak, right? First
Imagine
time
that.
in a long time. The Cowboys, do you know how long it's been since they have been above 500? Do you know?
Above
I know.
500.
I can tell you.
Above 500?
Yeah, they're above 500. They're 2-1. I know your voice is hoarse and everything.
Probably
you're in a questionable state of mind, but
the last time
how long it's been.
Yep, 2 years, because I think the last time they were 500, they went 3-0 to start the year, and then the collapse kind of just happened, right?
So that was the first 3 games of 2019, and they did actually fall to 3-3. So they fell to 500 after the 3-0 start, and then they were kind of jump ropey, above 500, 500, below 500. But so the last actual point in time that they were above 500 was the week before Thanksgiving in 2019. Then they lost to the Bills to fall to 500, fell below 500, and never got above. Last year, they lose their 0-1. They win their 1-1. They fall, et cetera. So it's been a long time since they've been looking down on other teams in the NFL like they are now, which begs the question, how long will the win streak continue? I'll let you answer first. Because you're Mr. Homer. So
I'm going to change the tune of last week when we joined the show, and everybody thinks I'm a Carolina Panthers guy, and that was, and I quote, before Christian McCaffrey got hurt.
That was still a bad opinion to have, even before Christian McCaffrey got hurt.
Sure, but I just think the Panthers are a better team than what people are giving them credit for. I think ultimately they can get it done this week. Then the Giants come up. There's going to be a lot of emotions in that Giants game with the whole Dak Prescott broken ankle thing. And I think they get that done too. Then they got to go to Foxborough, in which all of a sudden the Patriots can't win in Foxborough, which is the oddest thing. One of the more bigger anomalies in the early NFL season. They could probably rattle up the next 3 and go, what is that? That'd be 3. That'd be 5 in a row. I guess 5 in a row sounds about right.
So you think that they can win 5 in a row, like counting the last 2?
Counting the last 2, yeah. They win the next 3 at home. Well, the next 2 at home, and then go on the road and take care of business. And Mac Jones, he's gonna struggle if Micah Parsons has his way.
I mean, he's going to struggle either way. I mean,
I think so too. Yeah.
That's the Daniel Jones way. I'm getting the remaining schedule here. I was trying to buy myself time, but you were not sensing that. So,
well, you know what? Not for nothing. Like off the top of my head, after New England, like I didn't know. I was trying to think in my head who they had. All right, here we go. So, so New England. Oh, they can't lose the following week after New England, so that's fun.
So, okay, they're 2-1. Let's stop here. They're 2-1. So, if you're watching with us live, how many games do they win in a row? What actually this is the question. What's their next loss?
Okay.
Because
their next loss, yeah.
So I thought, by the way, Zachary says, what's the chance we don't lose another game? Not
calm down, Zach.
Calm down. Not high. But so that respect, but what is the next game they lose? Now, not to call myself a prophet, but I've said they have to get to the first 2 games 1-1. That sets them up for a lot of success moving forward, especially because yesterday on Tuesday, ESPN's Mike Clay tweeted out the strength of schedule for every team in terms of their remaining schedule. The Cowboys have one of the more friendly remaining schedules left, and every other team in the NFC East has one of the most difficult remaining schedules left. I think Philly's 13th, but Washington is 31st. and New York is 32nd. And a big reason for that is that Washington and New York each have 2 games left against the Cowboys each. And by the way, both of those 2 teams and Philadelphia still have to play both the Buccaneers and the Chargers, which the Cowboys have already done. And the Cowboys are fortunate that they get to play Washington and New York, who are 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. Philly's obviously up there too. So getting through those 2 1-1, that's my first question, Sturch. Do you think any of the other 3 division teams, Philly, New York, Washington, will split Tampa, Chargers the way the Cowboys did? When we look at the end of the season, will either one of those 3 teams have beaten either the Chargers or the Buccaneers? I think the answer is no.
No, because the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers, and they're going to be a good football team all year round. And
so they sweep the NFC East. You're saying the Bucs?
The Bucs sweep the NFC East, and I think the Chargers will only lose to us because they're only getting better as time goes on, and Justin Herbert's going to find his stride. So I don't think anybody in the NFC East are going to touch either of those teams.
Right. Okay. So they've all got to play. So we're assigning 2 losses to every other team. And so now to come back to the question, I've asked several questions. But the next game that the Cowboys lose, Chris CDR Production says, I worry about Bridgewater. I don't personally. Sturch came on here last week and in a bit of a fraudulent way said he was worried about the Panthers. Panthers are kind of frauds themselves. The Panthers and Broncos are both Sturch paper tigers to me. I just don't buy into them. I think the Panthers have a better elite thing. They have a really great front 7. The Broncos have a nice roster, but there's nothing to really buy into there. I think the Cowboys beat both of them. But so my vote for the next game the Cowboys lose is at Minnesota.
Off a bye?
Yeah, so I thought coming into this season, I said they've got to sweep those first 2, or they've got to split those first 2 games, and they did that. And then I thought they might not lose a single one. So I really thought they could get to the bye at 5-1. I thought New England might be tough just because it is Belichick, like you said, and it's on the road. But we're learning, like you said, that that might not be the case. I thought Atlanta would be a little tough. I did think maybe they would experience kind of a honeymoon season with the veteran quarterback and Kyle Pitts. That's clearly not been the case. I was down on the Raiders. I was down on the Cardinals. So those 2 games look a little bit tougher, whereas Atlanta and New England look a little bit easier. I do think that Minnesota is interesting. I think that they're 1-2, and I think that that's a little bit of an unfair record to who they really are. They lost at the very end off of a fumble call that was debatable to the Bengals in week 1. They should have beat the Cardinals. They missed a game-winning field goal, and then obviously they beat the Seahawks last week, coming from behind to do so. I know you were busy, obviously.
Without Dalvin Cook. I watched the game.
Yeah, and doing it without Dalvin Cook. So, I mean, you get Minnesota, and it's both Dallas and Minnesota will be coming off their bye, by the way. And so that's worth mentioning. But so I think that's kind of a coin flip game, and I think it's safe to assume that, you kind of push on coin flip games. So I'm willing to say that's a loss. Like the Cowboys are going to lose another game, and I think Minnesota is a fair spot for that.
I just, as I look at this schedule, Zach was it, I think, who said they might not lose another game. Look, even looking at Kansas City, right, after what they just went through with Los Angeles, Kansas City are also not a machine. They're a man, from Rocky IV. Okay. So
the worst Rocky movie.
You're out of your mind if you think that's the worst Rocky movie. But
anyway. You're like a East Coast guy, so it's like a rule to like love Rocky and everything, whatever.
No, Rocky V was awful. Tommy Gunn, forget it. No dice. Listen, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but that's a nice schedule to have if you're the Dallas Cowboys right now in a position that they're in right now, which I know is only 3 games in, and they're being 2-1, and everybody else is just a game or a couple behind. If they take care of business in a division, I don't foresee, I guess, that Minnesota coin flip thing that you said, because the Cowboys ultimately have to lose a game. Mm-hmm. I'll give it to a shootout in Kansas City. But outside of that,
you think they're winning out through Kansas City? Or up until Kansas City.
Up until Kansas City. Yeah. I mean, look, Carolina, New York, they got to get those 2 done, or we're going to start raising questions about why. Sure. Like why? New England, rookie quarterback Mac Jones, struggle. Give me that the Cowboys. I understand the situations that the Minnesota Vikings have put themselves in over the last 3 weeks, but I said it in a lot of my other shows and my predictions that Minnesota wasn't really, I wasn't buying them. I really wasn't. So I think they can get that done. And then Bridgewater is whatever. That's a home game. And then Atlanta, that's a Dan Quinn revenge game. You know what I mean? Like I see a lot of wins in the Cowboys future. And I guess the Kansas City Chiefs is going to have that who has the ball last type feel. We're gonna give Mahomes the ball with 58 seconds left, and he's gonna hit Tyreek Hill on a big, you know what I mean, one of those games. But outside of that, I don't know, man. I don't want to get too optimistic, but I guess it all depends. You got to beat the bad teams, which they just did, right? They beat a bad team in Philadelphia. If they beat Carolina and New York handedly, I'll feel a lot more confident with that prediction.
I love that you said that because I've long believed good teams not only beat bad teams, good teams kick the crap out of bad teams. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's why, because a lot of people have said in the aftermath from Monday night, like, well, why are you pumped? It's just the Eagles, they suck. And like, yeah, we all agree the Eagles suck and are terrible and have always been terrible. But that was a really big kind of, I don't want to call it a statement, but that was a game and a moment the Cowboys have shrunk into a lot in the past. Is this, okay, you're building off some positive momentum. It's prime time. I don't think the prime time thing matters, but still, it's the whole world's watching. It's your home opener. It's a division rival. Whatever stock you put into Nick Sirianni wearing the shirt, like it's your chance to just go whip them and,
right.
let them know that you're the team to mess with here. And they did that. And so that is what is the encouraging thing to me. I will say, I don't think that happens, what you said. It's certainly possible. And I tweeted today, actually, if you look at the remaining schedule by opposing quarterback, you feel even better about it. You mentioned, so these are just the quarterbacks on these teams. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, Kirk Cousins, who I still think it's fun to like hate on him. So he's better than like the internet makes you think, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater, Matt Ryan, who has been really awful this year, Patrick Mahomes, obviously tough, Derek Carr, who's playing a lot better than I think anybody anticipated. On Thanksgiving, short week for what it's worth, Jameis Winston. Then that's kind of a push, just given the way New Orleans has kind of been wishy-washy this season.
We'll see.
Taylor Heineke, maybe it's Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I mean, either way, I'm not worried.
No, my man broke his hip.
Right. Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke again, Kyler Murray, that's tough. And then Jalen Hurts to finish it. But I really think that the Cowboys will have won the NFC East by week 18 when they visit the Eagles. And so I'm willing to say Minnesota, but not because, I think that it's likely or the Cowboys are bad or the Vikings are good. I just think that that's football. Like it's a weird game sometimes. And, there's a lot of stabilization that happens from week to week, from team to team. So that's why I'll say the Vikings. But even then, like, even if we're being conservative, it's like, okay, well, let's be conservative and say they lose to the Vikings. Like, then we've got them going into, we'll say Thanksgiving, because let's say they lose to the Chiefs, right? Because it's the Chiefs, right? So they're 3-1 after Carolina, 4-1. They get to the bye at 5-1. They lose to Minnesota, so they're 5-2. The sky is falling. They come back. They beat Ned Run Atlanta. So they're 7-2, 7-3 going into Thanksgiving. I mean, if I had told you that before the season started, like, hey, you could be 7-3 going into Thanksgiving, you would have taken that 100 out of 100 times.
Oh, 101 times. Like that's easy. That one's definitely easy. But it's a realistic possibility. I see the chat just blowing up right now saying, like, stop looking past Carolina. We're not looking past Carolina. We're just hypothetically speaking, like this is a possibility. And the Cowboys have all of a sudden, and the only reason why we're talking like this is because we finally have a second side to the ball. You know what I mean? Like we're getting excited.
Speaking of, we'll be dropping a video later on today on Wednesday here on the YouTube channel. So subscribe here to the Block of the Boys YouTube channel about the 8 turnovers the Cowboys have, which lead the NFL through week 3, and how sustainable they are, how they've happened, whether it's going to continue. So look for that to come out later on today on Wednesday evening. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to feel good. I mean, it really is. It's difficult. And maybe that's homerism. Maybe that's, prisoner of the moment. But, it was really obvious when you looked at this schedule that if they could be not terrible, that they had a real opportunity to do something in 2021. And the biggest reason for that is Dak. I mean, you could talk about defense and turnovers and everything, but it's because when that dude's out there, I mean, maybe now I'm a prisoner of the moment. I cannot recall a time in my life, and I mean like my adulthood life, like the time where I've been allowed to drive a car, where I have trusted a Cowboys player more than Dak Prescott. I mean, there is this innate trust that he's always going to find a way.
I felt that way about Tony in his later years, like earlier when he was just slinging the ball all over the place. I felt that way about Tony Romo, but yeah, I said the same thing. I said, every time, and I think the networks do us a great favor by showing us Dak Prescott on the sidelines every time something bad happens, right? Like if there's a touchdown that we give up, right, they'll go to Dak and he's over there, fist bumping his whole team. He's yelling, he's rooting, he's all hollering all over the place. I think that's a really good observation. Like every time the Cowboys are on the field going forward, they can score. Like we don't have to, and even being down when there's like a minute left, I'm just like, a minute's not enough time. And then it's just not enough time. It is enough time. And Dak Prescott's that guy.
Thank you to a friend of the show, Bobby Belt, who dropped a $20 super chat in a very, very generous mood.
Bobby.
You can hear Bobby, by the way, on Cowboys Cast on Mondays on the Blog and the Boys podcast network. He is an eclectic person, and he has eclectic choices and tastes in life. So everybody listen to Bobby Belt.
It's one of my favorite follows.
He's all right. I mean, he's a good Twitter follow at Bobby Belt TX. But no, man. I mean, I've thought about this a lot. And I tweeted this at the time, but there's only one time I've ever seen Dak be uncomfortable in a football game. And it's actually kind of weird to think about now that I do. And right now, when I let you speak, Sturch, I'll go find the image and upload it. When the Cowboys played the Packers in the divisional round, his rookie year, obviously in 2016, the game-winning field goal, he did not look. He didn't look. And Mark Sanchez looked. And that just seems like that's weird to think back on, that Dak, couldn't handle something. I don't even want to say he couldn't. I don't even want to say couldn't handle. Like, I don't mean it that way, but that he was, nervous. Because like, when did you ever see him nervous? But I'll find the image. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. As far as his readability, just I don't know, man. He's got this swag to him. He's got this moxie to him. Where I don't feel nervous when he's out there the way I felt like. Romo, he was more of a slinger, and just kind of took chances like a Brett Favre-esque, I think watching Dak Prescott really getting really deep into his play, to watch him look off defenders and just kind of toy around with the secondary and like, oh, I'm going here. No, I'm going here. Like, I don't know, man. It's something special. And I think it's finally amongst the rest of the media is finally starting to be acknowledged. I mean, we got some of our biggest haters starting to talk good about us. I think somebody put out a booger tweet, right? I think it was you, actually. Or retweeted a booger tweet or a Dan Orlovsky tweet. These guys who have rode hard on the anti-Dak train are starting to come around.
So I've got the image here. I was wrong, though. So shout out to me. It was not the game winner that Mason Crosby kicked. You will recall that Dan Bailey kicked a field goal to take the lead in that game just before that. It's uploading here so everyone can see it. Here it is. And I know it doesn't take up the whole screen here, but, we're working with what we got. This is Dak not watching. And again, like that just isn't so inconceivable to me now, to think of him being like that. So Mark is literally watching Dan Bailey's field goal
go Rich.
In. And that's right. And Dak is not. You're right, though. He was a kid and like there was a comment here I wanted to get. Where is it? From DJ IQS is 2021 Dak is such a lunch pail carrier, comes to work as the job. Like he really is. He's the guy, like he shows up, he'll take it all. Like he'll stand at the front, he'll answer every question, answer every call. And if you have that, it doesn't matter what else you have or what else you don't have. Because if you have that can make up for literally anything else.
I think we also, as Cowboy fans and people that follow the team, I think we also got a great look at this kid with Hard Knocks, especially that first episode when he's like, everybody knows Dak Prescott is this cookie cutter, answer the right questions, just really positive, really like optimistic, very articulate. Like he enunciates amazing. You know what I mean? Like he's a really clean cut dude. Then you see him with his Mamba mentality on the practice field. And there's another level to this guy where like, he's not going to accept losing. He's not going to accept no for an answer when it comes to, hey, let's get this done. If somebody has a thought, if somebody has any kind of doubt, it's like, all right, stay off the field then. That's fine.
Ninja says that the rushing touchdown that did not happen would have won them 2 fantasy leagues.
I tell you what, man, that was probably listen, replay is a beautiful thing, right? Because it will correct mistakes. But what good is having replay if they can't even look at the replay and still shot the damn thing and not have it done? I did the tour the next day. I've done the tour every time I go out there. I did the tour and I stood right where he was. I was like, here lied Dak Prescott in the end zone for a touchdown, not called.
Clayton says, I don't see how they couldn't clearly see that it was a touchdown by Dak at the goal line. So I mean, like this is astounding to me. I mean, like we live in a day and age like it's hot where I am right now. So I was actually about to turn down the air from my phone. You know what I mean? So it's like we can do all these things.
Oh yeah.
You know, we have all these levels of technology. We can send robots to Mars, but you know, we actually still measure like this particular thing, like how far a football is, with two rickety, you know, chain connected things. And like I saw a tweet about this, and I forgive me for whoever it was that tweeted. It was some notable person, like I think it was PFF Sam. Does a great job for Pro Football Focus. What part of the pylon, or not the pylon, the first down marker, does the ball technically have to touch? Like I know this was at the goal line, but like, is it because it's like triangular? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it the beginning of the triangle? Is it the middle? Is it the end? Like, what part is technically a first down? You know what I'm saying? Like.
My theory was when he was laying, like they had the overhead shot, right? And I'm like, well, his whole body, half of his body is in the end zone. And like anybody who says like, but where's the football? Guess what? It's somewhere underneath him, and that's over the goal line. So I'm trying to figure this out. It was mind numbing.
So I want to bring this up. Shout out to Alvaro T. And actually, I have the Manchester United Champions League match on in the background, and it's not looking good. We'll just say that. But it's still 12 minutes left for Cristiano Ronaldo. But Sturch, you don't watch any Premier League, right? You're one of these like American sports and nothing else matters, guys.
There's a podcast on my network called the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast, and it's all soccer. And I've learned a lot of soccer over the last couple months.
So anybody who watches the Premier League, just as an example, here in the United States, they have this incredible technology to like, because the whole ball has to pass through the line within the box, you know, to be a goal, the entire thing. And so like, if there's a questionable thing, you know, NBC, who carries the Premier League, they have this like magic thing where they zoom in, and the Premier League has, and it immediately makes this like 3D rendering of the ball and shows you like literally how much of the ball crossed the line. And so you can see like, nope, that little sliver of the ball didn't pass. It's not a goal. And so my question is like, how do we have the technology to do that, but we don't have the technology to put a chip? And I know Kellen Moore made that comment when he spoke to the media on Tuesday. Like, how can we not do that now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think he was halfway serious too.
I know he was, but like even like the Premier League thing is one example, but like, I don't know. Do they have Top Golfs in your neck of the woods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they've got chips in every single ball at Top Golf to tell you like how far it traveled, and in the little shot tracer and everything. How do we not have that technology in a multi-billion dollar corporation in the NFL? You know, like it's silly to me because like it's actually dumb to think that like just to say like, well, you know, it looks like he got in, but like there's no visual proof that the ball, like his whole body's in the end zone. Like who cares if it's his body's like encased around it? Like the rules when it comes to stuff like that are so dumb to me, because it's dumb that that's not a touchdown, but that like in his heyday, Drew Brees can jump up and like break the airspace of the end zone and then have the ball knocked away, and that counts. Like, you know, the inconsistency is wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's so many angles. I know one of the guys that I know, good friend of mine, was like, well, you don't know when the whistle was blown, you know, and I'm at the game, so I can't hear all the way up there, you know. So I'm like, fair, but if all those guys are still going at it, that means the whistle hasn't been blown. You know what I mean? Like that's, guys usually stop when the whistles are blown, normally, typically. But you know, right? If you have the ability and you have the technology or the money to get the technology, then why aren't we doing it yet? Because there's going to be a time, like, can you imagine if that was the last play of the game? Can you imagine? Like, I can't. It makes me ill to know that you got that so wrong, you know, like not even close. It's bad.
It's dumb. I want to get back to the Dak thing, but thank you to Alex for the super chat. Thank you very much. Says RJ, do you think the Dallas can go 7-1 down the stretch? So the stretch would be their final 8 games. So let me see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's starting with Kansas City.
So he probably wants you to run the table after Kansas City.
Right. I mean, so like say you lose to Kansas City, which is, you know, fair to assume. See, I don't think they win all those division games. Like I know the division's hard. Like I'm, you know, and so believe me, like I'm in no way, but it's or not hard. I know the division sucks and is bad and is terrible, but it's still it's still the NFL. It's still football. It's still difficult. So I think it's fair to assume they drop one of those just through the law of averages.
That's just, I was going to say, that's just math,
Mhm.
math at this point.
I do want to touch on this point from Jorge. And I saw Jeff Kavanaugh, 105 through the fan, tweeted something along the lines of this on Tuesday. Jorge's comment says, is it me or does Dak seem like he's scared to run with the ball now? Now, maybe I'm scared. Like maybe I'm the person. And maybe I think I'm speaking, for Jorge here. But there was a like, what are you doing? Like on Monday night, there was a like, dude, chill out.
Yeah,
There was a like, there's no need for this. Like, every slide, hey, Cody, let's be easy here. I will say, I'm definitely willing to say that it Monday night specifically felt unusual from a mobility standpoint. And Kavanaugh's tweet that I talked about said that Dak, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it was something to the effect of Dak might never be the same runner again. And maybe that's ankle, related. Maybe it's not. Jeff didn't say that, but now I'm kind of pontificating here. But he has more than made up for it in terms of what he does as a passer now. And so like he has evolved in that sense, but I definitely think that his mobility is been impacted in some way, shape, or form.
I think, but you know what though? I think all the great quarterbacks that wind up being great and wind up winning Super Bowls adjust their game accordingly. Like a Russell Wilson, you don't see him just taking off and running. Like right now, there's only a few quarterbacks in the league that like when the snap of the ball, their first thought isn't to throw, and it's like a Lamar Jackson or like even Justin Fields has shown that in the first couple appearances.
On Sunday.
Well,
least,
unfortunately,
It used to be Kyler Murray, but like to your point, Kyler's kind of evolved a little bit.
Yeah, so I think that he's done that, and obviously, look, there's the elephant in the room is that he broke his ankle. You know what I mean? So like, he's not going to be as fast, and he might not be as explosive. And I was on that same level as far as like, don't run. What are you doing? Wait. Where are you going? But then there was also times when they were lined up within the 10-yard line, and I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for an RPO and Dak to just walk this in. You know what I mean? And I'm waiting for that too. But in the same thought, like literally the same thought, I'm sitting there like, yeah, you can do that too, but don't, because I don't want you to get hurt. You know what I mean? So if we're thinking that, we're only thinking that from a fan's perspective. But I know that he trusts his body and he knows what he's doing right now. He's ripping it all over the place. It's almost as if it's irrelevant. If it needs to be done, let it be done. I feel like there was a couple runs Monday night where the play just kind of got broken. It just didn't look right. So he took a slide instead. That's smart football. I know it looked kind of, but like it's smart football. Why take a hit? You know what I mean? It's him being a little bit more mature, I think. It's not as aggressive with his legs.
So two things. Clayton says Dak has also figured out that slides are his friends with some happy emojis. Agreed. But DJ IQS kind of encapsulated your point, Sturge. I think Dak has just reduced the idea of trying to make something out of nothing when he runs. If it's not there, it's not there.
Right.
And I agree 1,000% with this. I think that Dak has through some time now, not just like post-injury, realized, what the quickest way to the end zone is through the air. I can throw it so much faster than I can like run it there myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think you mentioned Lamar Jackson and we talked about Kyler last week. Baker Mayfield, when the Browns beat the Houston Texans, there was the play where he threw an interception that a lot of people saw, and then he went and tried to like lower his shoulder to make a tackle. And it's like, Baker, dude, it's a long season,
No, like, we get it. He's a gamer.
Yeah,
we get
like,
it.
Respect. Nobody's going to doubt you nobody's going to think you're not tough or anything. Sorry, I'm watching this soccer match. Okay, everything's fine. But, just be smart, right? Like, even if this is a pick six, like, even if you lose this game, which is not ideal, it's week 2 at that time for Baker Mayfield, right?
Right.
And so, like, for Dak, it's like, hey, dude, this first down isn't the, like, end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a punt, cool. Like, you're an elite offense. Like, you'll go score again. So, like, I believe it's partly that he's made everything more efficient in that sense. Like, that's how I view this. And I think he realizes, you know what? Like, I'm an elite passer. So, like, I don't need to waste time with this. Like, it's a nice option to bail out and utilize. But that's why Monday night, it did feel like he was a little bit more trigger happy on the ground. Some of that was, man, well, we'll get here in a second. I do want to address our super chat. Thank you again to Alex. Says, I can't wait for holding calls on Micah Parsons against Carolina to change the game. Yeah, I mean, Micah has been fantastic. And actually, well, we'll save the thing I was going to get to. This segues us nicely, Sturge, into a question. And that is, what is the non-Dak thing that is the most exciting part of the Cowboys right now? Is it Micah Parsons? Like, if you have to pick a player, or because you can't, I don't want this like vague, umbrella, like, well, I like the defense playing really well. No, I need a specific thing. Is it Micah Parsons? Is it J-Ron Curse? Is it DeMonte Casey? Like, what's your answer?
I think that is the easy answer. If you want the easy answer, sure, it could be the excitement that Micah Parsons has brought to this defense. But I'm giving you a completely different answer here, and it's because we have now officially a guy that you can't throw on. Trayvon Diggs has been unbelievable. He has been out of control good. And let me tell you something. Last year, there was a couple moments where his head was in the clouds, and you're like, well, what the heck is this guy all about? We don't know. Let's remember something. This kid was thrown trial by fire, guarding some of the greatest receivers in the league last year in his rookie year. In a year, it was just so abysmal on both sides of the ball, right? So he gets his swag back. He's featured on Hard Knocks. He's got a great kid. You know what I mean? Like, he's just an overall good dude. But overall, man, it's to the point now where this is exactly how I know he's special. Ready for this? I'm Mr. Optimism, right? My dad typically doesn't say a lot of really good things about the Dallas Cowboys. He's the reason why I'm a fan. He texted me on Monday night. He goes, Trayvon Diggs is incredible. And that's how I knew. I was like, all right, my thoughts are real now, because this kid is incredibly good, already a superstar, lockdown corner. We haven't had one of those in a long time.
I think so. My answer of that variety is like how I know Trayvon is legit is I hate the number change. Like, I hate this, all this, like, it's so stupid. Trayvon looks sick in number 7. Like, that to me, like that's how, like, I know.
It's so clean, bro. It's so clean.
That's how I know he's solid. I think that's a great answer. And I think that, like, that is made possible by the presence of the pass rush that Micah Parsons is providing. Like, I don't want to take away from Trayvon Diggs at all, but you can only do so much on your own as a cornerback. We've seen that with other talented corners. Eileen says Trayvon Diggs is a beast, strong heart, a warrior. He just has the right attitude too. Like, I agree with that. Like, he lists those around him. DJIQS, by the way, says maybe Diggs and Elliott trade numbers prime time. I would love to see him in 21, but I think Trayvon is more of like 27 didn't fit. I didn't like 27. But
and you know what? And that felt like a safety number. Like,
it is a safety number. I agree with that. Like, and that's why, like, J-Ron Curse looks really great in 27.
Definitely.
I think Diggs is like a 31, if I'm being honest.
What's funny? You just say that because I was like, shutdown corners are one thing, right? But like, even you said, like, the pass rush, it helps and it makes the cornerbacks better and they have to cover less time. If there was a ball, and I'm not dogging Byron Jones because you brought up 31, right? I'm not dogging Byron Jones, but tell me I'm wrong here. Jalen Hurts looks that way, right? He throws that pass to where Trayvon was. Byron Jones breaks that up. Trayvon Diggs picks that off, takes it to the house. That's the difference. He can make the plays.
It's a little unfair to say.
It is, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Trayvon.
I still wish Byron was, on the team. Oh, I love this question from Zachary. He says, what's higher, Diggs' ceiling or where Byron was when he left? The answer is certainly Diggs' ceiling.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because Byron remains an elite athlete and an elite talent and somebody who does a lot of dirty work that is not appreciated. However, that didn't translate, and Diggs is starting to have those results translate. Diggs impacted the game on Monday night in a way that, not just the pick six, but in a way that Byron never did. I mean, to be honest, like that, he had Byron never had that kind of game as a Dallas Cowboys cornerback. Alex, thank you for the super chat again. Oops, says Tony Pollard. Hey, I agree. Tony Pollard. Actually, Diggs would have been a great 20 too, if we're being honest with ourselves here. But thank you, Alex. Really appreciate that. Ninja, by the way, says agree. We would have gotten his little pistols instead of a touchdown. Talking about Byron Jones' celebration. That's the thing. Like, I like that Trayvon, and I don't want to make this about this, but like, I like that Trayvon doesn't have a celebration. I like he doesn't have like a thing. I like that maybe that's come, but like, I like everything about him. He is awesome. And I like the Buffalo Bills a lot. And I think this happens. Like, I think we all kind of have like other teams we like or not root for, but just, the Bills are an easy one because the Cowboys beat them in 2 Super Bowls. So it's like easy to view them as this like, cute little brother, whatever. I like their uniforms. And like Trayvon's made me like likes Stephon Diggs a lot more. Just like, and
They have the same, yeah.
And if you follow Stephon Diggs on social media, he's all about Trayvon. Like, and it's cool to like see that, yin and yang, so to speak. And so that's really cool. Let's see here. Ben says Diggs is now officially the greatest number 7 in Cowboys. He might actually be. Like, that's not.
Yeah, you put some respect on Chad Hutchinson's name. You understand?
Also, Stephen McGee, who went to the greatest school in the world. Let's. Also, Eric says Trayvon can.
Oh, Ben DiNucci. What am I talking about?
So here's my other point on Trayvon is, and I hate this point, but like, he does have such a swagger. Like, I feel so dumb saying that word, and like, he has it because he backs it up. You know what I mean? And like, I loved Morris Claiborne coming out. I got really hyped about Chidobe Awuzie. I think Brandon Carr was really underrated, but they never had this like authority about them and about their game. And Trayvon's already got that. And I mean, the dude has only played 15 games in his career, and that is really exciting, at this point in where he is as a Cowboy.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. And like you said, you mentioned a couple of the guys that we've had in the past where we were high on them and really got excited about them, but the play really never translated. And I'm not saying never translated. They made plays, like they're serviceable cornerbacks. But this kid, it's going to come to a point. Now, I know there was a comment before that we didn't bring up, but the guy's like, I need to see more. How much more do you need to see? I mean, the guy's only been playing 15 games and the kid's got 9 picks or something like that. Something crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
he has 6 picks. Let's be
whatever. I'm going based off the team this year. I'm sorry. But, or the turnovers at least, but the kid has this ability to now make quarterbacks question throwing over there. Really. Cause he's either going to break it up or he's going to jump that route. And he's got the smarts and the physical intangibles. I don't know, man. This could be the greatest second-round pick in Cowboys history.
Wow. I don't know.
You can. I mean, we can Google it, but I'm just being really optimistic right now.
It's definitely, they've really had some struggling second-round picks. I mean, if we think back, 2010 was Sean Lee. 2011, obviously that's a great one. 22, again, we're just going off the last decade-ish, but 2011, Bruce Carter didn't exactly work out. 2012, they didn't have. 2013, Gavin Escobar. I mean, I
like him. Serviceable.
Let's
great.
Certainly pay our respects. 14, DeMarcus Lawrence. 15,
sorry, D-Lo. My bad.
15, Randy Gregory.
Okay.
16, Jalen Smith. 17.
Well, Jalen thing.
Well, after that, oh my gosh, Cristiano Ronaldo just scored to win it in the last minute. Holy crap, Sturch.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't get it. Is this week? It's a victory week again. This is again unbelievable.
I know you're not a soccer guy.
Racing to the Twitter machine right now.
I know you're learning. But Cristiano Ronaldo also a number 7, like the number 7. If there's a number 7 in the history of sports, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Holy crap! Wow. I'm sorry. I was a little unprofessional, but hey, I mean, that's what makes sports awesome.
Yeah.
So wow.
I can't wait to clip that up, by the way. That's going to be great. Like, hey, watch this cut. Oh, my God, Ronaldo. They go crazy.
I'm watching. So man, this was perfect. Perfect. Oh, my gosh. Appreciate everyone who's hanging out with us here. Let's see here. Alex, thank you again for the super chats. Let's give some love to 7th rounder Schultz. Dalton Schultz was a 4th round pick. So I saw a moment ago. By the way, DFWAV Geek 521 says, I need a Diggs jersey for my October birthday. My birthday's in October as well. Sturch, I want to say yours is. Am I wrong there?
It just passed now.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. Whatever. Fine. But the idea. Oh, Zachary, thank you very much. The sports is about passion, RJ. You did exactly your job. Look at that.
Look at that, huh? Just picking it up. This guy's going to go out there and get a Ronaldo jersey now because of that moment.
What do you mean gonna go out there? I have.
No. I'm talking about Zach.
Okay. Okay. I have a Ronaldo jersey that's on the way. It's taken forever to get here. But anyway, so I want to talk about Dalton Schultz, and I want to also address Aaron brought up, said, can we show love for Terrence Steele? I agree with this. And so what is the non-Dak thing that is the most exciting part of the Cowboys right now? R00S says Schultz rocks. I agree. I think a really exciting thing is that their depth is playing well. Schultz isn't depth. Schultz is a starter. Schultz is one of the best tight ends in the NFL now.
I think he's ranked number 2. Pro Football Focus has him number 2.
He is, but like if we do our like common sense rankings, we've got Travis Kelce, whatever order you want. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Darren Waller, Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz.
I mean, but my point is like he's like the 6th or 7th best tight end in the NFL right now.
Right.
And so again, he's not depth, but my point is with him is the non-superstars are playing well. Like Trayvon Diggs is now a superstar. So Trayvon, you got to play like a superstar every week. You're doing your job, respect. But the non-superstars are playing really, really, really well for the Cowboys right now. And that's how one thing I love that Mike McCarthy says, and he says it a lot actually, but is how many players it took to win the Super Bowl for the Packers in 2010. It's
80. We say 80.
I think it's 73. But that's this game. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot. And in some weeks it's Dalton Schultz has going to give life. Sometimes it's Terrence Steele. Sometimes one week it's going to be, Connor Williams. You know what I mean? Like that has to happen. And that is happening for the Cowboys. And that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, not for nothing. I mean, there wasn't one point of last night or Monday night's game that got me like, oh man, if we just had Collins at right tackle, that would have worked. You know what I mean? Like that's how good Steele has been. And I almost forgot about the only thing you're hearing about Collins is the unfortunate stuff that's, details, that's surfacing around Cowboys media as to why he's serving the suspension in the first place. But Steele has done an incredible job backing him up, and which is crazy because if you think about it, there was a lot of Cowboys fans out there that once Steele went in there, you were thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be another turnstile. Like, is Dak going to be running for his life? This, that, and the third. Steele has answered the bell, and he's really, really played a really, really good role in which I guess by all means he's got, 3 more to go before Collins is back?
Yeah. 3 more to go. And I think this isn't like an insider thing. This is my own personal opinion. I think we might not see Michael Gallup till after the bye. Because again, like we talked quality of opponents, I think like the Cowboys can beat the Panthers, the Giants, and the Patriots. At the very worst, go 2-1 in that stretch without Michael Gallup, without Lyle Collins, and then give them that time, give them 3 more. You're not giving it to Lyle, but you know what I mean? Like allow that time and then the bye week. And then you get them back for that tough game in Minnesota. Maybe a healthy Michael Gallup is the difference against, a Vikings team that I do believe is better than their record certainly indicates. And so maybe that helps then. And so you do not need Michael Gallup for the Giants.
No. But
especially with Cedric Wilson, that's you're getting great play from your depth guys.
But as great as that is, and Cedric Wilson is that dude, and I still believe in Noah Brown too. I believe that he's a good physical body, big guy receiver that can lay the wood if called upon. But here's the situation, Michael Gallup might not want that rest, considering what he's playing for this year. That's
a complicated variable. I agree with you, and that's like
because he could be Wally pipped real quick, and if nobody knows that reference, but it's
Sturch is 1,000 years old, so that's why he's referencing
Cedric Wilson. He's good. He's real good, and they got Simi Fehoko, who we haven't seen anything much from, but who knows what he's got. I think Gallup in his best.
The Homer is back, by the way. Talking about Simi Fehoko, just for the record.
Michael Gallup has reasons to try to rush back, is what I'm saying. We may not need him, but he's going to want to get out there.
I'm only saying this, and we talked about this. Tom and I talked about this in the aftermath of the Lyle and Michael Gallup news. By the way, the Champions League set has a Manchester United kid on. No big deal. Just nice dub. But I want the most for Michael Gallup. I know you want the most for Michael Gallup. Everybody does. The reality is this season might impact that. And like we see this a lot, like Michael Gallup might sign, a 1-year deal with the Cowboys next year and say, you know what, I didn't get my chance to really show my stuff. The salary cap is growing again, like we've heard so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I want to utilize this time right now to get right, whatever. I want to have a full season in 2022 to get totally paid, especially like, I don't think Michael Gallup's the best wide receiver on the market next year if Chris Godwin is, you know what I mean? And so like, those factors and those variables all change, but like that might be a big thing. And so like, I don't mean to say that's strategy, like you're keeping Michael Gallup off, for any reason like that. But that is something that's a relevant data point is all I'm saying. There was a comment I wanted to get to, where is it? Ninja says, I want Michael Gallup to get that rest. I agree, like for the good of the team. And I think I agree with you, Sturge. It's going to be difficult to keep him out potentially if he is healthy, but that might be what's best for them. I did want to also address Zachary's question. Sturge, I don't know if you saw this. I know you've been really busy. Brandon Lee Gowton, who runs Bleeding Green Nation, our Philadelphia Eagles site at SB Nation. He and I had a bet
Oh, the
on
bet.
the
Yeah,
Cowboys
yeah, yeah.
Eagles game.
Mhm.
And so if the Cowboys had lost, which is a silly proposition, I would have had to have sung Fly Eagles Fly on the NFC East mixtape. And since the Eagles lost, he has to have the Blog of the Boys logo as his avatar up until kickoff of the next Eagles game, a game they're going to get destroyed in by the Kansas City Chiefs, who are all pissed off.
Oof.
But
Yeah, you're right.
he tweeted that I was disappointed that I couldn't sing Fly Eagles Fly. That's a flat outright lie. I mean, just so everybody knows that that song is stupid. But okay, so we've talked about Dak. We've talked about things we're excited about. I don't mean to go back negative, but we are just here to talk about the overall state of this team. And so, thoughts on Greg Zuerlein? Because, like, it's
just, my thought, it's frustrating. It's just straight up, flat out frustrating that the guy, can't make the extra point, but he'll make that 64, 5, 6 yarder or whatever, just to go. Well, not 66. He's not Justin Tucker by any stretch, but it's frustrating to know that every kick we have to watch. We can't even like, if the Cowboys score a touchdown, we can't get up, run around, cheer, high fives. And then by the time you get back to your seat, you realize that you missed the kick. You know what I mean? Like, we got to sit there and watch the kick because it's that Bear. Come on, Bear. We have to sit there and watch the kick because we're nervous he might not make it.
UPS is here, so it's
even better.
2 minutes here.
You know what that is? That's your Cristiano Ronaldo jersey that you're waiting for. But yeah, no, for Greg Zuerlein's his case, it's hard to get behind him until it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's just difficult. It's frustrating. There's a lot of the bad things about this team aren't really like really, really bad. They're just like really, really annoying, and they're frustrating. Like, to miss an extra point is annoying. For Mike McCarthy to mismanage the clock is frustrating. These are the things that are just going to bother us through and through, I think, for the rest of the year.
You almost did it, Serge. We almost got to the end.
The
house is secure. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gone, Bear. It's fine. It actually might be the jersey. I really hope that you're right.
Look at that, huh? That'd be
and
great.
by the way, Chris says, you want to go check. I'm good right now. Again,
can you imagine just getting up? See you later.
That would actually be, if it really is, I'll tweet it out. I promise. But
perfect.
And it would actually be amazing given the fact that he just won this game. But
again,
Eileen says if we are consistently missing extra points, we need to be looking at kickers. It's going to come back to bite us big time. So 2 things here. One, I tweeted about this on Tuesday. Greg Zuerlein now, Sturch, has missed a kick of some kind, extra point or field goal, any kick, in 9 of 19 games that he has played with the Dallas Cowboys. That's 9 of 19.
It's unacceptable.
So
there's no competition in the preseason. There's nothing. There's just Fossil saying, that's my guy. We're going to ride with him. Here we go. That's unfortunate. And I don't like to it's crap. That's crap.
So I tweeted when I said this, that he's going to cost the Cowboys a game, to Eileen's point. But I got a lot of respect. And I said, you could argue that he did cost the Cowboys against Tampa. Now, I think you could argue that in a couple of different ways. I don't know if I 100% place the blame from that game on Greg Zuerlein. He definitely deserves an enormous amount. Like, if we're, how in the episode of The Office, they go and put beans on the people that they want to give bonuses to or whatever. Like, if we're doing that with blame, Greg Zuerlein gets the most from the Tampa loss. But my point is, like, the Cowboys have played 3 games this season, right? And 2 of them have come down to last-second field goals where the team kicking them won the game, the Tampa game and the Charger game. And so the odds are that is going to happen again, right? Like, and where the Cowboys are going to have to, half of their wins so far this season, to Greg Zuerlein's credit, have come off of a last-second field goal. And I know the sample size is incredibly small at this particular point in time. We're only 3 games in, but that's going to happen again. And it's not going to, if he had missed that kick in LA, who knows? Maybe the Cowboys win the coin toss. They get the ball. Maybe Dak goes down. Tony Pollard runs in the game-winning touchdown. They still win no matter what. But what if it wasn't tied? What if the Cowboys are playing the Vikings and it's 26-24? Dak has the ball at the very end, like he did against the Vikings in 2019. He drives. It's a 42-yard field goal attempt with 2 seconds left. Cowboys got to make it or they go home with a loss, first game out of the bye, and Greg Zuerlein misses it. And that's you shouldn't look at one moment and say, like, well, it's a failure because it's about the composite. But that is, I hate to say this, that is likely to happen based off, again, he misses a kick in 47% of games that he plays for the Cowboys. So like, how can you deny that? Like the laws of probability as they relate to Greg Zuerlein not only indicate or suggest, they outright prove that this is going to happen. And so I think it's irresponsible to have him out there. There are only 3 kickers. There are only 3 that have missed multiple extra points at this point in the season. And one of them is Greg Zuerlein.
Who's the other one?
The other 2 are Josh Lambo, who went to the best school in the world. So we won't talk about him. And Tristan Vizcaíno, the kicker for the Chargers, actually. So I mean,
I don't know. It's very alarming, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, you know how they beat it over our heads that talent acquisition is a 365-day job, right? Like they're always looking for guys.
Well, Stephen Jones, 365, 24/7, 365, right?
Right. And guess what? What do they just take off certain days and they just don't look for talent? Because this look, Greg has done wonders for us in spots. You know, he wins the game the other day. Last year's watermelon thing, like we're getting excited.
Sorry, not to cut you off. Like he won that game with a field goal, to be clear. But the watermelon kick, I don't give him any credit for. Like
I just give it more the Falcons of just being complacent and just sitting there.
but what I mean is like that's not like a trade in the NFL, like watermelon kicking. You know what I'm saying? Like field goal kicking is a trade in the NFL. Like respect that it worked out, but like kickers aren't paid for their ability to kick the watermelon kick. They're paid to kick field goals. And so again, respect, he pulled it off. I don't want to take away from that, but like that's not the skill that he is here to provide. And so that's my problem. But you're kind of Chris asks, so what can we do about Greg? And unfortunately, and I don't mean to just like, you know, moan and groan with no answer. I think the answer is nothing because the Cowboys rested on their laurels here. I mean, you know, there was reason to doubt him after last season, but to me, I know you don't play golf, Sturch, but what it's like to me, I play in a weekly league with our neighborhood, and so every Wednesday, so actually later today, we go out, we play 9 holes, and sometimes like this is rare. Obviously, I'll hit a bad shot, and you know, I'm frustrated. I'm like, man, how's this happening? And you know, the only time I play, especially now that it's football season, is that time in the week. You know, like I'm not, you know, practicing, and so like. That's on me. Like, that's my fault. Like, I've made that bet. So, like, I have to lie in it and I have to accept the consequences of my own actions. And so, like, that's it with the Cowboys. Like, when they lose a game, and I hope this doesn't happen. I hope I'm totally wrong. It's going to be the consequences of their own actions.
Yeah. I mean, I look at this team and I'm saying to myself, let's just say for whatever reason, they were 0-3, right? And Greg Zuerlein had the stat line that he has right now. Then I think he's gone. That's just me. You know, starting off 0-3, they're very slow and they got to make a move. Who's the sacrificial lamb? Well, Greg's cost us XYZ, right?
To that point, Sturch, sorry. We have a comment from Michael Magruder says, I'm done with throwing players away for potential mistakes. First of all, this is not potential.
Yes,
like there's a mountain of mistakes. Who are you going to replace him with, I think is the question. Why constantly focus on the negative? The reason we're focusing on this, Michael, is because there's a very strong argument to make that the Dallas Cowboys are 3-0, if not for mistakes that Greg Zuerlein made and mistakes that the Cowboys made in terms of allowing that to fester. That's why. And so, like, we're talking about the difference between 2-1 and 3-0, but the difference between 2-1 and 3-0 could be a playoff spot when it's all said and done. Like, you never know. It could be the difference between the 1 and 2 seed. You know, things like that are just, you know, they're tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like I said, just another element of being frustrated, even off a big win. We're all riding high, 2-1. I mean, I think we're 2-1, and that's why Greg is not getting the attention to be removed or replaced. I mean, there's a lot of people that are frustrated with him, but unfortunately, like you just said, RJ, they're not going to do anything. Not at this point.
A couple super chats to get to. We love all of you who take the time to join us here. Alex, thank you again for the super chat. Says, watching the post locker room speeches, the players love Mike McCarthy. You can see it on the field. I will say, like, you know, I didn't like what he said about the not calling a timeout thing, but anytime Mike McCarthy speaks, I find myself kind of telling myself, you know, like if we were in a workplace setting, like whatever, if Mike McCarthy was like, you know, we worked at the same venue or something and he was my boss, I could find myself like buying in. I definitely, I can see it.
Yeah.
Like he's not the like raw guy Jason Garrett is, but he's likable in a certain sense. So I totally believe that the Cowboys love him.
I agree. He's got that moxie to him. I do.
Calvin, thank you for the super chat. Says, answering a question from earlier, I'm still excited to see what Gregory can do as the season rolls along. Your thoughts? He might be. I was hesitant to buy in, and I'm not saying that everyone who bought in was wrong because he's clearly awesome and so they're clearly right, but there just wasn't a a big sample size. You know what I mean? There wasn't. He hadn't played stable football in a long time. And so I was just, it wasn't I need to see it to believe it thing. It was just there's no precedent for this. And thankfully, I've been proven wrong 3 games in. He did not have the box score splash moments that Trayvon Diggs or Micah Parsons did on Monday night, but he was equally impactful, if not more so. I mean, Randy Gregory disrupted the pocket over and over and over again, drew penalties. I mean, Randy Gregory might be the most important player on the Dallas Cowboys defense. Trayvon's important, don't get me wrong, but like, especially the way this season has gone with now DeMarcus Lawrence's foot situation, Randy might, when we look back at the DVD of the Super Bowl winning Cowboys, I don't know if it'll be a DVD or a Blu-ray, or maybe it's like a direct download thing that's like it's on the cloud on all your devices. But when we look back and we watch it, he might be the most important player because of what he is providing on a week-by-week basis.
I think he's very similar to DeMarcus Lawrence in the aspect of like, what else does he do besides get the sacks and the gaudy numbers? Like, he is causing havoc. Every time you see Micah Parsons or anybody in that backfield, if you look directly to his right or directly to his left, Randy Gregory's right there. You know what I mean? So he's definitely causing some havoc. I was one of the ones that was very, very optimistic, shocker, about about Randy Gregory in a full season capacity, where I was like, well, you know, every time we have ever seen this guy, he's come off of his 6-game suspension or this or that. You know what I mean? For him to start training camp, get in there, no preseason really. I mean, you didn't do anything, but, you know, go into the regular season. It all translates, man. It all translates. And he's flying high with a really, dare I say, really good defense.
I mean, I think it's really good partly because of him. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
big role player.
I mean, it really is amazing. Loopy, thank you for the super chat. I know sometimes like typing the question can be difficult on the super chat. So I see it now, Loopy, but thank you, Loopy. Your question or your comment says Cam Irving versus our defensive ends is a great matchup for us. Yeah. There was another comment a moment ago. Where was this here? From Loopy. Loopy's other comment says, how did Cam Irving get a starting gig on the Panthers O-line? I saw that in 100% chance Quinn floods the crap out of that guy. He was so bad for us in Dallas. He wasn't Chaz Green, but who Dan Quinn has had success against. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's had, you know, I don't want to say this should be an easy win, but this is the first game at noon this year for the Cowboys because they played on primetime twice and then we're in the afternoon in week 2. This should be a relatively chill Sunday that after the game, you come hang out on the Blogging the Boys post-game show, you enjoy, and then by Sunday Night Football, when we see the like super overhyped Brady return to Foxborough game, you're you're just peaceful. You know, you're happy. It's another good week. The Cowboys will be riding a 3-game winning streak and life will be good.
I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. Yeah, I mean, Cam Irving didn't have his greatest days in Dallas, and I think that the Cowboys could definitely take advantage of that because, you know, Parsons is going to more than likely stay put until absolutely needed elsewhere. So, and believe it or not, you know, there's nobody bigger critic than me of Jalen Smith. And, you know, there was a couple plays last week where I was just like, Jesus, what is he doing? But then again, he's around. I found a still shot. I think Joey Ickles. I don't know if you follow him, but
yeah, Joey Ikes. Yeah. BCB alum. Yeah.
Bro, he put out a screenshot. Jalen Smith was about 16 feet from the ball, and you could just see him laying out. And it's just, but we just need Parsons to do his thing. We don't want Parsons to drop back right now until it's absolutely necessary. And if Jalen and Van Der Esch play serviceable, good football, then, you know, we don't have to make any moves.
A little birdie told me that Jalen may be stopping by the Blog of the Boys podcast YouTube, you know, universe in the coming week. So be on the lookout for that. That's all I'm saying. You know, just be on the lookout. But
and Dave Sturch may not be invited for that one.
He will not. Zachary asks, who is our comp for Micah Parsons? I hate to take the low-hanging fruit, but it's Von Miller. I mean, that's who he, and everybody has that comp, but it's that for a reason. He's that special.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Watsamata, thank you for the super chat. You're the best. Says food for thought. Maybe Randy Gregory, not right guard, was given the task of collapsing the pocket rather than darting around the end, thus denying running lanes for Hurts. I totally agree. I mean, he was an incredible team player. It was incredible team defense from the Cowboys. And again, drew multiple penalties. I mean, he was awesome. And that's like, I don't think he should be knocked by this or anything, but it is just fact that he wasn't in the stat sheet or the box score or anything. Like he doesn't have the highlights that NFL Network's playing, you know, the rest of this week or anything like that. But he was just as impactful as Micah Parsons, as Trayvon Diggs. I mean, he was the 3 stars of the game defensively for the Cowboys were Micah, Trayvon, and Randy.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I mean, it's just those guys, everybody did their job. There was never, the Eagles were going to get their plays. Like, and I have to start making peace with that. Like when I make predictions, and I was saying this before to my buddy, I was like, I had the Cowboys winning that game according to the Blogging the Boys predictions on the Instagram. I have them 34-20, right? Which means the Eagles have to score 20 points somewhere along the line. But like when the game starts, I don't think they should score any points. But even though I predicted them to score 20 points, I still can't get on board with the fact that the Cowboys should give up any points. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Anything, on your mind, Sturch, when it comes to the Cowboys? Anything that you just have to say right now or you won't sleep all tonight?
Yeah, I think that the Cowboys, it's not that they don't have an identity on offense because they can do so many things. But I want people to understand and stop the madness 2 weeks running now because Tony Pollard is a completely different running back than Ezekiel Elliott. But boy, I want Zeke to get the ball more. He is starting to hurt people. I'm telling you, there's a lot of muscle behind Ezekiel Elliott.
You just want the narrative of that. That's all you want. It's just fine. You know what I mean? Like you just want the feed Zeke. Like you just want, you want the good vibes. You know what you want? You're the guy right now who's like, it's movie night, and you're like, let's watch whatever for the 300th time. It's a great movie. And everyone's like, dude, we've seen that movie 1,000 times. Like, I don't care. It's a great movie.
I go with Tommy Boy on that one, probably.
Sturch, Alex, thank you for the super chat again. Says Dave, your Yankees hat burns.
Oh man, listen here, Alex. I'm a Jersey guy, first and foremost. So I am a Yankees fan, and they're in playoff contention right now, and they're playing really good. 7-game win, another 7-game winning streak for the New York Yankees. So sorry about that, Alex, but I do appreciate you sticking around for this entire thing.
I think the Cowboys offense, and by the way, Zachary asks if Sunday is the new day for Jersey Boys. Yes, the Jersey Boys are our official pregame hype men. So you will hear from all of them we dropped that late Saturday night, Sunday morning, so you can get to hear what they have to say before the game. But the Cowboys offense, I've been thinking about this for a while, is I forget her name. I think it was Mystique in X-Men.
Okay.
Mystique is, I believe, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Mystique is she's not actually not a member of the X-Men. She's one of the bad guys. Like she's on the bad team, and she is capable of embodying anybody else. You know what I mean? Like she can look like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like that's her mutation or whatever. And so that's the Cowboys offense. They can just become whatever they need to become. They can turn into whatever they need to turn into. And so, I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good place to be.
Yeah. I'm great. I'm great with everything right now. All things Cowboys, everything's really clicking on all cylinders. You beat up on a bad team. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are not a good team, but that's what good teams do, and they got to beat them up. I think it needs to carry over to this weekend. I think they got to, do their thing, man, and just keep playing the way they're playing. Don't get too cute. I say that once a week to Kellen Moore. Don't get too cute. I understand he wants to show that evil genius that he has, when he
evil.
Well, I'm saying because
it's wholesome. He's like Jimmy Neutron. You know what I mean?
See, I think there's somebody in the really, really deep in the brain that says you know what? A reverse would be really good right about now. Right? He's got the guy on his shoulder and you're like, yeah, all right, let's call it. And that stuff still burns me to this day, but it is what it is. He likes to splash him in. It's just not the opportune times to do so.
Eileen Peppers says Yankees.
Atta girl, Eileen.
Going for you, Sturch. I'm a Houston Astros fan, having been born and raised in Texas.
Openly admit that, huh?
I mean, look. I mean, I'm not hurt by these things, and so the magic number for them is 1. We'll see if the Yankees are even in
magic numbers
in the postseason.
3 for the Yankees.
Yeah, that's 3's more than 1. So
I'll see you in the World Series.
That would be impossible.
Oh, ALCS. Sorry. I'm thinking oh my God, Jesus Christ. ALCS.
Anyway,
again,
Zachary with the great points says, I'm kind of disappointed we won't get to see J.C. Horn in action against us to see what we missed out on. It is a huge bummer that he's hurt, obviously. Says, but I'm definitely happy with Micah. Eileen says, how do I pay for a super chat? Very kind of you, Eileen. Thank you so much to everyone who super chats. There's I really don't know. Actually, off the top of my head, which is probably bad, but there's an option on the side, in the comment section. There's a thing that you do, and it has to be connected to your PayPal or whatever. It is what it is. Oh, Watsamata, Sturge, coming back. You got your Yankees love. Says, don't knock the Q. All caps with a ton of exclamation points. Says, even when those fail, the prospect of cute keeps the other team from getting too comfortable sitting on tendencies. Wow, Sturge, you should feel.
Yeah, but they're drive killers, man. Sometimes they just completely throw things off where you're like, wait, why would they do that? And like, you know what? I promise you, every time, and I know this from all of it has to be a Cowboys thing. Like as far as all of us as fan base, if you get like that CeeDee Lamb catch in the beginning of the game where he gets down to the 1, right, or to the half-yard line, whatever it wasn't a touchdown. How many of you out there in YouTube land, okay, or however you're watching this, right? How many of you say feed Zeke 4 times? You all say it. You all say it. No, you don't. You admit it. Admit it. No, stop it.
No, because like the moment
you need 1 foot, you need 1 foot. You're going to get that ball to the strongest dude on your team.
We've seen them not get that foot though. You know what I'm saying? Like the moment you do that, the moment you die. Because that's the moment you become predictable though. You know what I'm like? So yeah, I'm not like opposed to like, you know, hand it off to Zeke at all. Like I'm not saying that by any means, but in no universe am I handed to him 4 times. No way.
Okay.
I don't believe in that.
Fine.
But Eileen says that she sees it. It's a $sign. That is appropriate. Eileen also says, I love this channel, says Flash Blog. So thank you, Eileen. If you haven't, Eileen and everybody, please do subscribe to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. We do these live streams every single week, normally on Tuesdays. But again, the Monday night game knocked us back one day. Watsamata coming back, Sturge.
Oh, boy, here we
go. Cute. We just spent years, 1, running on first down, 2, draw on 3rd and long, 3, no disguises of defensive coverage. I gotta say, Watsamata is making incredible points. I haven't had to say anything.
Listen, man. And it's not like it's the opportune times that get me going. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for a trick play if it works. You know what I mean? I totally like. That's
results oriented thinking. You can't think that way.
But I'm saying like the Cowboys can hit, I don't know, Schultz on a 30-yard crossing pattern down, right? 1st and 10. The Cowboys are rocking and rolling. And then the next play, bubble screen that goes nowhere. That's to me, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
I see, like, again, I applaud this mindset that Watsamata has when you have superstars, like when it's your offense. I don't applaud this mindset like on special teams where you're shaky. And we've seen the Cowboys like get cute on special teams. So like there are variables.
And that's not on Kellen. So
no. But Kellen has the horses here. You know what I'm saying? And so like I am a fan of this. I am a fan of Kellen's creativity. Yes, there are times where you look at it, you say like, man, that didn't work out. But for every one that didn't work out, there are maybe 10 that do, 6 that do. You know what I'm saying? Like I will take that ratio all day long because it is, you know, it is what it is. Oh, Watsamata comes back. Here we go with the super chat. Thank you so much. Watsamata says, Sturch, I love you, bro. You are not wrong. There's a time and a place. I agree with that. And that's why there is a measurement to it. So I was making sure you weren't like against cute at all, Sturch.
No. Like I said, it's the timing, I think. I think it's the timing that bothers me the most of all that stuff.
There's a timing in the flow of it. And like some of it is feel, but some of it is data. And Kellen does seem to understand that. Kellen has said, if I look at every single thing that any single Dallas Cowboys staffer has said over the last 25 years, Kellen has my favorite one. And it was last Tuesday or last Monday after the Cowboys beat the Chargers. And he was talking about the overall disposition of the team. And he said it is to aggressively attack what the defenses give them.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is. And sometimes that is in a cute way. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes what your plan is doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like you're not flawless. You're not infallible. And you know what? Nick Sirianni, in all his glory, said after the Cowboys whooped up on the Eagles in his post-game presser while still in the building at AT&T Stadium, he said that the Cowboys, and I don't know how much stock he put in this, but he said the Cowboys did a great job of taking what they gave them defensively. And like people, the phrase low-hanging fruit has such a bad rap, right? Like people love to be like, that's low-hanging fruit, whatever. In this world, take it. Take the low-hanging fruit. Like, right. Take it all day long. Like, take the low-hanging fruit for 4 yards of play if you want, because I'll take that all the way to the end zone.
Was he wearing his stupid shirt when he was in his post-game press conference too, or no? Did he buy the new one?
He has not, and I'm going to say this one more I haven't said this to you, Sturch, but a lot of people have heard me say it, and I apologize, but I really don't, because this take is something that I feel passionate about. The highlighter on his visor Have you seen this? He wears a highlighter.
It goes down his face. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying this as a joke. I'm not saying this for super chats. I'm not saying this to make anybody laugh. I 100% believe this in my heart and soul. He is doing that to make it a thing. He wants to Eagles fans to walk around
just
like Matt Patricia and the pencil,
that's it, yeah.
Like the number 2 pencil, like Jim Harbaugh in the khakis, like Mike Ditka in the sweater. He really wants, I'm telling you, Eagles fans to walk around on Halloween, go to the bars, and somebody's like, "Who are you?" And the person's like, "Don't you see I got my Schmedium polo on and my visor and my highlighter? I'm Nick Sirianni, the great Eagles coach."
Just like
I don't know what accent that was, but like
Belichick. It sounds like you were trying to do New York, but
it's really bad. But tell me that you don't agree with that. I don't think you can say that you disagree with that.
No, I don't. I do not disagree with that. As a matter of fact, it's like very like Belichicky with the hoodie. Like he wants it to be his shtick because he's a brand new coach and he wants to leave an impact. But the only thing he left Dallas with was a big fat L. So I'm with that.
That was a good burn, Sturge.
I know. I got some sometimes.
That was a good burn. This was a good. Watson Modest says, "Dear Eagles coach, yes, continue to focus on your highlighter. We'll just win the NFC East by 4
That's
games."
what I said.
I'm telling you, I really because there's no way that is. That actually, I told my wife this because I've told everybody this, and she was like, it impedes his vision, and it does. Like it impedes his peripheral vision.
You can't see preps.
Yeah, so you cannot tell me that this is comfortable or could be. You got pockets. You know what I'm saying? You've got,
By the way, I got a new nickname.
Sturch, your cuteness has generated some super chats, so congratulations.
Hey.
Alex, thank you again. Says Dave, I hate cute Sturch.
I love it. That's too fun.
Nice. Well, this was really fun. Like I said, so schedule around here if anybody cares. Later on today, on Wednesday evening, we'll be dropping a video discussing Cowboys turnovers, how replicatable they are. I know that's not a word. What's led to them, what's going into them, et cetera, et cetera. So that'll drop Wednesday evening. Sturch, I know you're going to watch. Tomorrow on Thursday, we are dropping our Madden simulation here on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. It's the third week we're doing this. The Madden game had the Cowboys losing both to the Chargers and the Eagles, and the Cowboys won. So we'll see what Madden has to say about this week's game against the Carolina Panthers.
Just make sure you update the rosters and get McCaffrey out of the game.
We did, and I'll say this, full disclosure right now, we do that. We go in and adjust, but Madden is kind of dumb. And so sometimes even though you do this, sometimes it sneaks somebody out there that you didn't put in. So it's a video game, everybody. Just be cool. So that's coming out on Thursday. On Friday, we should have our game preview available for this week's game. We talked to somebody who covers the Carolina Panthers, and we get ready for the game, obviously, on Sunday. Of course, we have our post-game show as soon as the Cowboys get that dub, and then we do all this next week. Highlights on Monday and a roundtable next week. Sturch, are you in next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central Time?
Of course. Let's do it.
So Sturch will be here. Eileen is today's MVP. Says, "Oh my gosh, RJ, I tweeted about that friggin' highlighter during the game on Monday. Drove me crazy. I'm telling you, I won." He's doing it. He wants it to be a thing. He really does. Donnie says it'll have Dallas losing to Carolina 28-17, probably. Talking about the Madden simulation. We'll see. It drops tomorrow on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. But Sturch, anything else? Any last words?
Man.
Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about this defense. I said it. I tweeted that out midway through it from the stands. I said, guys, hold on to your horses. But I think we might actually have a defense this year, and I think it's very true. And I'm real excited about all the guys, in all of their roles. And of course, we got that high-powered offense. Don't look now, ladies and gentlemen. The Cowboys are on the map, and it's starting to draw the attention of everybody. So just keep your cool, keep your composure. Like I know you're not like me. I'm just a little too much, but just stay calm. Let's win the games we got to win. And maybe we're talking about some really, really cool things come January.
Zachary, I do see what you did in the comments. I agree with you, Sturch. We will have our predictions up on the Blog on the Boys Instagram story that you hinted at a little while ago, but give us a score prediction right now. Cowboys-Panthers Sunday, even though you're a big Panthers fan, who wins the score?
Yeah, all right. Cowboys win this one 27-17.
2 more sevens. Right on. Shout out Cristiano Ronaldo. Shout out Trayvon Diggs. Shout out all of our super chatters. Shout out Dave Sturchio. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next time.
Yeah, man.